Hey everybody, Susquehanna Picker here. I have an issue that I ran into today. I've been selling on eBay for 15 to 20 years, consecutive for 15, but altogether 20 years. I've only ran into this issue 2 to 3 times, and both times been resolved except for today. Now let's get into it because they ransacked my business policies and disregarded their own policies. So let's just get right into it. I sold the other week. Let me close this down. I sold the other week a Cobalt 40 volt maximum lithium battery charger. And I don't do returns, folks. I don't do returns. I sell secondhand stuff. I do honor returns if something is broke in shipping or I misrepresented stuff. We all make mistakes. I know I do it. So but in cases of buyer's remorse or whatever other reason they didn't like it, I don't honor returns, and it's my business policy. It's in my preferences. However, eBay, they don't care what your preferences are anymore, and it's really bad. And I argued on the phone today after talking to an eBay representative last week who agreed with me. But today, the gentleman totally he didn't really disagree, but he couldn't dive into it. But he saw where I was coming from, but couldn't do nothing about it. And there's no way for me to escalate it until I get the item back, which I don't think I'm ever going to get the item back, to be honest with you. I just don't think it's going to happen. So let's just slide that over there for now. So the buyer paid on August 13th, and I shipped it the next day on the 14th. It was delivered on the 19th. I'm going to have to edit some of this private information out. But let's just say, if you look over here, it's like, dude, your feedback's zero. Your feedback's zero. Mine is 99.8%. And that's over a 15 to 20 year period. So that's pretty good. I've sold a lot of stuff. I've made eBay a lot of money. I promote most of my listings 5%. So I'm losing 20% right off the bat between the final value fee and the ad promoted fee. So they still decided with this guy to honor the return. But we're going to get into the comments and messages. So leave comments below if you guys have ever run into this situation and how you guys fared out with it, because this was mind-blowing today, how eBay could do that to somebody's business. I mean, it gives me the option to run my store as a no return policy, and yet they can supersede that and honor returns. It makes no sense in my book. But so let's just get into it. The item sold for $35.75. You could probably see that right there. The shipping was $10.80. The sales tax, I mean, the order total was, say, $50. But when you break down what I earned, $50 minus the sales tax, the final valuation fee was $6.54. The shipping label was $11.35. So I actually lost money on shipping to begin with. Then the promotion fee was $3.23. So my order earnings was $25.43. I paid $5 for this thing. And this was the second one. I bought two of these at a yard sale. This is the second one. The first person loved it. And it's not like there was an issue with the function of the product. That's the mind-blowing thing. You can see here, it's the charger only, no battery. Cobalt 40 volt maximum lithium ion battery charger. Now, it says 40 volt. The description says 40 volt. The item specific says 40 volt. There's nowhere in this frame that says otherwise, that it's not a 40 volt charger. And let me just see the case details, because that's where all the good stuff's at. The history of the case. So on August 28th. Now, remind you, it was delivered on the 19th. So he had the thing for 7 days before he messaged me. He had this item for 1 whole week before he even sent me a message. And his first message was, you guys send me 40 volt charger. I needed an 80 volt charger. Well, the description says 40 volt. That's what you ordered. I cannot order for you. You ordered the wrong thing. That's your loss. You go try to resell it, because it sat in my store for a little bit. I responded to the guy pretty much immediately, in quotes. The title on the listing specifically says 40 volt charger. He then sends a message. I don't want my money back. I just want to see, can I exchange it for the 80 volt? It hasn't been used or nothing. Obviously, if I had an 80 volt charger, I'd probably try to make the situation right, but I don't. I mean, I buy this stuff secondhand. So I respond to the guy, I don't have an 80 volt charger. I only had 40s. Is there anything you can do for me? I don't have a 44 equipment to use. What do I do? I, I don't know. The guy's typing's not the best, and I know my language skills are horrible as well. So I'm not making fun of that guy for anything because I speak horribly, and I'm from central Pennsylvania, and we have weird lingo up here that other people don't. So, but it was hard to understand. Is there anything you could do for me? I don't have 44 equipment. I'm assuming 40 volt equipment to use. That, what do I do? And I didn't respond because I'm not doing nothing. I mean, there's no return policy. He knew the policy when he bought the item. It's right on the page. It's right in my store description. It's right in the listing. No returns. So the case was opened on September 4th. And I responded to the case right away. I messaged the buyer how eBay says you can contact the buyer. I said, please read the case. In the case, the buyer purchased the item and said, I sent the wrong charger. He wanted an 80 volt charger. The listing was for a 40 volt charger as described in the title, description, and item specifics. I run my store with a no return policy and therefore cannot accept a return for the buyer's remorse or error. And nothing's been said. There's been no contact via him. They sent him an item after I spoke to the lady last week. And it's funny how this says September 4th. This was actually the escalated case. The case wasn't initiated on September 4th. The refund and the return shipping was actually initiated. So eBay's timeline is actually a little wrong there because the case is now closed. And now they're withholding my payouts, $46.55, until this guy ships it back. I don't think he's going to ship it back, but that will be another bridge we got to cross in about a week or so when I don't get this item back. But he has a feedback of 0. I've been selling on the platform for 20 years. That's what I told the gentleman this afternoon on the phone with eBay, which, first of all, if you've ever had to call eBay, it is now a disaster to call them. It is so tough to get to an agent anymore. And this was a pressing matter because when I talked to him on the phone, when I got a hold of him, it sounded like a scam. The guy has 0 feedback. He sends me a weird message saying, you guys send me 40 volt charger. I need an 80 volt charger. Like I sent him the wrong thing, which I did not. 0 feedback. Off-put message. Sounded like a scam to me. So that's why I immediately responded. And this guy was communicating for the first day, and then it just ceased, which means I caught him in a scam. But then he went ahead and opened the case, and now it's stuck. So it's a fiasco. But I argued with the guy today, and I wish I could record my phone calls on eBay. I asked for their recording, and of course they won't give it to me. I have to find some way to record phone calls off iPhones. I'm sure there's got to be an app, but I will be downloading it tonight so I could record these times I talk to eBay, because this is completely wrong on their part. And please leave comments, and I hope you share this video of how they're ransacking small businesses like mine that were just trying to make a few bucks for our family. And I get it. Some of you guys want to offer returns. I don't. That's just my preference. You offer that preference, I take advantage of that preference until when the shit hits the fan. You don't want to honor my business policy anymore. A business policy that agrees or aligns with eBay's policy, because eBay gives you the option to not accept returns. And I take advantage of that. I don't want to do returns. I just don't. Now, if that day comes that eBay forces your hand that you have to do returns, well, then I guess I'm going to have to bite the bullet. Maybe I'll charge restocking fees or whatever the case. But until that day comes, no returns is my business policy. And eBay allows that policy to be intact. until today, apparently. This was so frustrating. I mean, it was the lady last week was frustrated. I was frustrated, and she agreed with me. I wish they could pull that phone call and listen to that phone call, and then pull the one from today. The guy, oh, I get what you're doing. I get what you're saying. I said, doesn't it look like a scam? So you're gonna try to have a feedback from a member of zero, when Lord knows he could have signed up from eBay the day before he bought this or the day he bought it. You're gonna trust him over a 20-year veteran seller on eBay who's been top rated several times, who's had very little complaints. And my current feedback's 99.8%. And yet, you throw me by the wayside and side with the guy with zero feedback. That is absurd. Absolutely absurd. So, leave in the comments what I should do. Obviously, I know what I have to do. I gotta wait for this guy to send this back. I don't think he's gonna send it. He hasn't shipped it today. I can tell you that he has not shipped it as of 7:30 today. And the last time I spoke to eBay and when they cited this case was about 10 o'clock this morning. So he hasn't shipped it. I think the guy was fishing for a scam. I caught him in this scam, and then eBay has to open their eyes and see the scam that's going on, and then sides with the scammer instead of me, a 20-year seller on eBay. So just write in the comments what you guys think, what I should do. Have you guys ever run into this, and how it plays out in the end, because I'm very anxious to see. And I will keep everybody informed on the Susquehanna Picker channel. I guarantee you this will be on our Picking Pennsylvania podcast next week, so tune into that. Maybe there will be an update by then. So just let me know. I'm baffled, just baffled, how eBay can run their business like that. I mean, you need the sellers on there. There's multiple platforms that people are jumping ship to or cross-listing on those platforms, so they're losing business. And you want to do this to a 20-year-old, a 20-year veteran seller on eBay. Is just, that's not how you run a business. I'm sorry. I am sorry. That's just not how you do it. I have other thoughts on eBay. I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me, but I do have other thoughts. And I love eBay. They provided food for my family. They provided housing and everything else. I use eBay money for a lot of stuff that's not budgeted in our family. So I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me, but boy, they got to get better. They got to get better. That is insane. Absolutely insane. I've had an argument with somebody before that I'm actually an eBay shareholder. I have stock in eBay. Why not? I use eBay. I see what I pay, so I know they're making money. I do believe they need to clean up their balance sheet and maybe practice better business sense that they should have done a few years ago. I mean, I still strongly believe, getting off the case of this, because that's kind of settled now with the Cobalt Charger, but I don't understand why eBay hasn't acquired their competition over the past few years. I'm sorry. I mean, you kind of split eBay Motors off, which is good. I mean, not a lot of mechanics or people looking for car parts want to be on eBay. eBay Motors is kind of its own thing. It's the same, but it's different. You other resellers know what I'm talking about. But when Mercari came along, might have want to bought them out. That's up in the air because they're not a real big retailer. But I guarantee you, when Poshmark came out, they should have acquired Poshmark. I said it from day one. Poshmark is a great platform. I've never sold on it, but it could be a great platform. If I was eBay, I would have threw my pocketbook at them. Sorry, pun intended, I guess, because they do sell pocketbooks and clothing over there on Poshmark. But I would have bought Poshmark out and turned that right immediately into eBay Closet. You could have eBay Closet, eBay, and eBay Motors. That's how I would have ran it. I think eBay would be thriving today. And I don't think the government could have stepped in for a monopoly, because it's not really a monopoly. There's still other platforms to sell. Bonanza, Marketplace, Commons, all this good stuff. But that's what I would have done. Poshmark wouldn't be around. They wouldn't be taking your market share. And you can have a whole clothing retailer under the eBay brand. So that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments too. So uh, yeah, can't wait to hear from you guys. So I like to end my videos as, picking ain't easy. Or is it? In this case, it isn't.